Andrew Tate will watch Sean Strickland and sit back and swallow deep and say, whoa, did he just say that? So, Sean Strickland, I'm going to beat around the bush a little bit here, okay? Even by my own extremely limited standard, there's still things that make me a little bit uncomfortable to talk about. So, if you don't quite know the story, you're going to need to do a little bit of a level of research on your own. You know the story, then come along for the journey. But Sean Strickland over the weekend decided to give the business to Ian Machado Garry. Now, I will tell you this, and I'm not going to tell the whole story, but I will tell you this. I'm done with the Machado. I used to do the Machado. I was happy to do the Machado. I thought there was even something to it. Like Frank Shamrock was working like Frank Juarez Shamrock for a minute there. And Vitor Belfort was working this Vitor Belfort Gracie for a minute there. I'm into it. Your name, your choice. I'm done with the Machado. It's Ian Garry from now on. But at any rate, Sean sticks his nose in Ian Garry's business. And it possibly cost Sean a friendship. Curtis came out and was defending Ian Garry. And Curtis and Strickland are very close. And there's probably not a whole bunch of guys you could say that about with Strickland. He does his own thing, but he and Chris Curtis are close. And okay, yeah, again, there's a level of research you're going to have to do on your own. But Sean gave the business back to Curtis to the point that Chris Curtis has deleted his social media. It's done. He's done. He's off social media. He's actually a very busy guy. I would predict that he will come back. But either way, and I still have it from a little bit different perspective, which is why I'm being a little light on the details. It's actually not the direction I'm going. Imagine this if you're Ian Garry, okay? Ian Garry did not get into the ass-whipping business in the first place to be rich. That would have been a dream. He didn't get into it to be famous. That would have been a dream. He didn't get into it to have title fights and be a main eventer on pay-per-view. That would have been a dream. He for sure did get into it so that he doesn't have to take CRAP from anybody. That would be why his mother and father took him down and signed him up for the gym in the very first place. And they might word it a little different, and they might word about, yes, for confidence. It's for skill building. It's for toughness. They might have used it for that. But if they cut through all that, the reason they took him and the reason he stayed is so that he doesn't have to take crap from anybody. And he doesn't. Think about being in Ian Garry's shoes. He is completely undefeated. He has the blessing from Conor McGregor. Not quite as strong as what Islam got from Khabib. In fact, not even remotely that strong. But the next thing in our sport, the number 2 blessing from a great in our entire sport, under Khabib's to Islam, was from Conor to Garry. Which, by the way, is he ranked number 11, guys? I remember when he broke into the top 15, he couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that he couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that he was surprised that he got there. Remember when he put the tattoo of 15 on his arm? I was surprised that he was surprised because he was selling confidence so well, not to mention his skills are great. Ian Garry is a great fighter. So let's rework this. He's young. He's a celebrity. He's signed to the biggest organization. He's on pay-per-view. He's undefeated. He's a top-ranked, I think he's number 11. He's a top-ranked guy. He is possibly 1 win away from a world title opportunity. He is currently bickering with the sitting champion. He doesn't have to take crap from anybody. He doesn't have to take it because he's not going to be given it. It's a respect factor. Well, unless the champion from one weight class above you decides to put a finger in your chest. in that case, you are going to take crap. You're going to take a lot of it. You're going to take as much as he chooses to give you. Could you imagine being in this spot? I mean, but think about it from that perspective. The champion of the world is standing his ground, but he's not calling out, he's not teasing Ian Garry. Ian Garry's next opponent, the former #1 contender, is preparing to beat him up. But he's not giving him a hard time. He's not embarrassing him or trying to enrage him outside of the cage. He's doing none of those things. And there's no reasonable belief that anybody will. It's a different situation. He's a top-ranked guy. He's undefeated. Nobody has beaten this dude up. It's one of these things. Unless it's the guy who's the champion from one weight class up. It's like this, from that perspective, that is what makes this so interesting. And if you do the research and you see the DMs, you're likely to come to the conclusion that he didn't write those DMs. Okay, fine. But if he did write them, you would also be forced to see that the big brash bully, like all bullies, does not handle it well when somebody pokes a finger in his chest. A different attitude and a different spirit come through. And you're now going to see Ian Garry. No more three names. You're now going to see Ian Garry on a stage with Colby Covington. And Colby doesn't have a horse in this race, as they say. He's got no dog in the fight, as they say. But he will have a microphone in his hand, which many times he has turned into a pipe bomb. And I don't know. I don't know if Ian understands that when he shows up to this press conference, he had better come extremely well armed.